How risky are you when you're buying a guitar? It's a question I pose to folks every once in a while and say, if you can't take the risk, maybe you shouldn't be doing this to some degree. There's a lot of failures in building guitars, buying guitars. Sort of the online world can jump up and bite you at times. But would you spend $2,000 on a Les Paul Custom coming from Japan? I did. And man, did it work out. This is a 1998 Gibson Les Paul Custom in white. A little bit beat up. Guy tried to put some stickers on the back. Not sure why. But I paid $22.50 for this bad boy. And oh man, was it worth it. It is definitely a player's guitar. You can see all the, I don't know, scratches on it here. There's a bunch of zingers right here that for some reason I can't get in the camera. There we go. And there's a little zinger on the top. But usually these guitars run like $4,000, $3,500. When I was in Nashville, I went to Groon, always looking and seeking these guitars out. Just couldn't find them ever. And I started watching some of the Japanese auctions because they've got a ton of gear in Japan. And the shipping rates are somewhat reasonable. And they usually don't sell counterfeits online. And if you check the feedback, you can see, which guys are doing real guitars versus the Chibsons versus, another counterfeit. And I knew the look of this, and the guitar is outstanding. It really is nice. It's got a nice sort of mid-chunky neck. It's not the thin neck, which was sort of my fear. It's got nice Grover tuners. I don't know how it got so yellow so quickly, but it is just awesome. I've had this guitar for over a year, and my buddy stole it from me. And finally, I was close enough to his house. I was like, hey, I'm coming to get my guitar back. And he'll get it back. We trade a lot of gear. But this was just an outstanding purchase. He set it up, cleaned up some of the frets. And the cracking on it and the aging on the neck is perfect. No sort of zings or runs. I took the risk knowing that this could be a failure. But I'm used to buying really crappy guitars and then making something awesome out of them. And the white, you just can't get aged unless you beat the hell out of the guitar and actually play it. It just doesn't do it right. So when I got the guitar, I said that these sort of zingers in the back were a little bit bigger than what he had alluded to. And that's why the stickers were on there. And I thought maybe I could sand off the back and refinish. And I said, why would I do that? I've got the UV kit. I can plop this in there and sort of darken this up. But this is some of the allure of having this old vintage guitar essentially now at this point. It was dropped right here as well. It's got the binding cracked, like it fell off or something. But for $22.50, why wouldn't you take the risk? So that's the sort of the conversation today is how much are you willing to bet on a guitar? And if you lose money, is that sort of like the end of the world, or can you eat it? A lot of the Gibson stuff and Party Smith stuff that I've bought, I've looked for players' guitars specifically that I could either refurbish or play. Does it have a case? This one came in the Gibson full case, full hard shell case. So I was able to take that risk knowing that the worst thing was maybe the back. The guy said that the action was pretty good. So why don't you just do it and see what happens? There are a bunch of really good music stores in Japan, and I am sort of getting ready to say I want to go do that trip probably in the next 5 to 10 years. They love bringing over some of the American gear, and some of the stuff I've seen online has been really cool. They had a Black Beauty up for sale maybe 2 weeks ago for about $2,600, and I almost bought that one as well, but I'm kind of needing to churn some of my gear to pay for some other stuff, and that's why I got this one back. I'm sort of evaluating, do I sell it, do I not? But just the vintage patina on it, the coloring, the beat upness, it's kind of hard to dump this guitar. So I'm playing through my orange amp, and it's set up at 7 watts. The shape is in the middle. Full gain, obviously. That's the bridge. Let's turn this up a little bit. And this is the neck. The pots really don't make any noise. It's not scratchy. I did pull the guitar apart when I first got it and double checked everything. Nothing special about the pickups or the pots or anything. I mean, it's a relatively new guitar. So 20 years old, 1998. It's hard to say that that's 20 years ago. But let's turn down the gain. Turn this up a little more. For some reason, I love the bridge pickup in these things. It's just got that biting tone. Nothing sounds better than an A power chord. Been surprised at how much I like that Walter Becker orange amp. I way overpaid for it, but it's just mean and got an awesome growl. So for this, it works out really well. So as you're in your hunt for new gear, take a look at what they got out there. You never know what you're going to find. I mean, I've bought probably 4 or 5 guitars now from Japan, and they've all turned out pretty well. I know I'll get a dud in here, and if this was going to be a dud, I would have just done a full restore like I did on the 2008 standard that I rebuilt. This one would require a little bit more love and work being painted. But since I've got the UV box and this one was a little bit beat up, I thought the worst case scenario was I was going to have to pull the neck and maybe straighten it and then re-glue the fretboard. That was probably my biggest fear, is that the neck twisted or warped, and it didn't. There was enough left on the truss rod that I didn't have to do that. So just think about it when you're looking for gear, looking for projects. I bought this knowing it may potentially be a mess, and it turned out to be an awesome find. 2008 or no, 1998 Les Paul Custom white, beat to hell. It's got that awesome aged patina, and it was a steal for me. So we'll give this back to you, Doug. Enjoy it for a while, and thanks for watching, guys. We will see you in the next video.